1,000 nobles, sacred vessels filled with wine, and doom approaching unseen. The feast was the largest Babylon had ever seen, 1,000 nobles drinking wine, their laughter echoing off gold-covered walls, the music so loud it could be heard in the streets outside the palace. King Belshazzar sat at the head of it all, drunk and reckless, master of the greatest city in the world. Then he made a decision that would end his kingdom before sunrise. "Bring the golden vessels," he commanded. "The ones my grandfather Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple in Jerusalem." A hand with no body, words with no speaker, and everyone knew who was writing. These vessels were sacred objects, designed for the worship of the God of Israel, stolen decades earlier when Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem and destroyed its temple. They had been stored in Babylon's treasury ever since, too holy to use, too valuable to destroy. Until tonight. Belshazzar and his nobles drank wine from the temple vessels. As they drank, they praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze and iron, wood and stone, Babylon's idol gods, while using cups meant for the worship of the God of Israel. It was the ultimate act of religious arrogance, desecrating another faith's holiest objects for drunken revelry. The party continued. The wine flowed, and then something appeared near the lampstand that stopped 1,000 conversations mid-sentence. A hand. A human hand. Just a hand, with no body attached. Floating in mid-air, writing words on the plaster wall. The music stopped. The laughter died. 1,000 nobles stared as mysterious words appeared in letters that seemed to glow. The king's terror, Belshazzar's face went white. The Bible says his knees knocked together. The most powerful king in the world reduced to a trembling wreck by words he could not read. His countenance changed, his knees knocked together. The most powerful king reduced to terror. "Read this writing," he screamed at his wise men. "Whoever can interpret it shall be clothed in purple, wear a gold chain, and become third ruler of the kingdom." The enchanters came. The astrologers came. The Chaldeans came. They stared at the words, mean, tekel, a parson, and shook their heads. They could not read them, or would not, or were too terrified to try. The party had collapsed. Nobles whispered in corners. The sacred vessels sat forgotten on tables. The only light in the room seemed to come from those glowing letters. Then the Queen Mother entered the hall, old, perhaps Nebuchadnezzar's own widow, with a memory that reached back further than anyone else in the room. "There is a man in your kingdom," she said, "who has the spirit of the holy gods in him. In the days of your grandfather, he was found to have insight and intelligence like that of the gods. He is called Daniel. Send for him. He will tell you what the writing means." Mean, tekel, a parson. Daniel was brought before the king, an old Jewish exile who had served Nebuchadnezzar faithfully and survived every regime change since. Belshazzar offered him purple robes, a gold chain, third place in the kingdom. Daniel brushed the offers aside. "Keep your gifts. I will read the writing anyway." Mean, tekel, a parson, numbered, weighed, divided, doomed. But first, he delivered a warning. He reminded Belshazzar of his grandfather, how Nebuchadnezzar had been humbled by God, driven mad, stripped of his throne until he acknowledged that the Most High rules over human kingdoms. "But you, his grandson, have not humbled your heart, though you knew all this. Instead, you raised yourself against the Lord of heaven. You drank wine from his temple vessels while praising gods that cannot see or hear or understand." Then Daniel read the words, mean, tekel, a parson. He interpreted each one. Mean, God has numbered the days of your kingdom and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. The message was doom, absolute, immediate, and earned. That very night, Belshazzar kept his word. Daniel was clothed in purple and proclaimed third ruler of the kingdom. It was a hollow honor. The kingdom had hours left to exist. That very night, the prophecy was fulfilled. The greatest city fell in hours. That very night, the Persian army entered Babylon. According to ancient historians, they diverted the Euphrates River, which flowed through the city under its massive walls, and marched along the dry riverbed while the Babylonians were still reeling from the feast. The defenses that had seemed impenetrable were bypassed in a single night. Soldiers found palace gates open, nobles drunk, a king unable to organize resistance. Belshazzar was killed before dawn. The Babylonian Empire, which had terrified the ancient world, fell in hours because one king thought he could drink from sacred vessels without consequence. The hand had written his doom. Daniel had interpreted it, and before the sun rose, the prophecy was fulfilled. The words on the wall became the most famous warning in human language. Proof that no king is beyond judgment, and that profaning sacred things brings swift destruction.